Alright everyone, here we are. It is the last day of February of 2021. Ever since the very ending of The Mandalorian Season 2 and the firing of Gina Carano, a lot of fans around the world have been very much skeptical about whether or not Disney and Lucasfilm can really pull things off when it comes to the franchise moving ahead. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing is for certain is that yes, we do know that the Gina Carano situation was a very messy situation, not just for Lucasfilm, but also for the Star Wars fandom. You know, it created a large backlash against Disney. It led to a ton of subscriptions being lost on Disney Plus, which, by the way, not only involves or impacts Star Wars, it also impacts Marvel and other avenues on the Disney Plus platform, so let's not forget about that. Now, March 9th, it's going to be a big day because that is going to be the shareholder meeting. We're going to learn a little bit more about how the top shareholders feel about where Disney is and where they are going and how it involves the Gina Carano firing. You know, from what has been told before in the past, a lot of shareholders are very angry and very much disappointed on how it was handled by Lucasfilm of firing her in such a low-level way. Now, apart from all of this, we do know that Jon and Dave are still hard-working people. I mean, these guys are really pouring their heart and soul into the Star Wars universe. They really are dedicating their lives to satisfying Star Wars fans. I mean, let that sink in for a moment. They are dedicating their lives to trying to satisfy the fandom. Now, when we think about that, they're working on a dozen projects, which is, by the way, a lot. You know, they have a hand in almost every single project that's going to be listed on Disney Plus in some way, shape, or form. However, what's really intriguing has all to do with Kathleen Kennedy, however. Now, given that both The Mandalorian Season 3 and 4 are now in development by Lucasfilm, Disney and Lucasfilm are focused on their new universe in general. It's described that Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy behind the scenes is having a very tough time with the Gina Carano firing situation, since it is creating a major impact on her image by the Star Wars fandom, even the ones that supported her from the start. However, it's noted that Kathleen Kennedy wants to fire and cancel creator Jon Favreau from the Star Wars brand for creating an obvious contrast between his version of Star Wars and hers, and how it has led to negative opinions and reviews of Kathleen Kennedy's take on characters, like Luke Skywalker and others, for example. Now, additionally, it's described that both Favreau and Kennedy do indeed hold a grudge, since Kennedy was trying to get rid of Favreau recently by bringing it up with the board at Disney and Disney CEO Bob Chapek, where she proposed that Jon Favreau to be fired, since he was creating too much content that was geared toward the Star Wars fandom, which in her belief caused a bigger divide between the fans, making them realize that her version of Star Wars was insignificant in comparison to Favreau's. On top of that, it's noted that actress Gina Carano is set to reveal new secrets about her firing by Lucasfilm in a brand new interview coming out this March, followed by another interview that is set to drop sometime in April. However, it's unclear which media outlets these will be for, of course, March and April. Now, Kennedy also wants to fire and get rid of Favreau since he refuses to do Cara Dune's recast for Mandalorian, and that this is creating more tension between the two. So let's let that just sink in for a moment there. The fact that Kennedy wants to get rid of Favreau because he refuses to do a Cara Dune recast and is the one that created a big contrast between what Star Wars should be and what Star Wars was by Disney and what they were doing with it improperly. That's exactly what's bothering Kathleen Kennedy right now, and what really made her go up to the board over at Disney and the Disney CEO in an attempt to fire Jon Favreau. We all know that Kennedy has always had issues with Jon Favreau. From the very beginning, she has been trying to not let him use characters like Luke, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, and others out there for Season 2. She tried to do everything in her power to prevent that, even Ahsoka Tano. She did not want ROSARIO Dawson to portray the role. That was not her decision. She wanted it to either be Brie Larson or another mysterious actress. We're not quite sure who that is. But with that being said, the other thing here that I think is going to take fans by surprise is that Jon and Dave, regardless of everything that has happened and how it has led to some setbacks for Mando Season 3 and 4, which, by the way, are being worked on back to back. I mean, this is a big deal because they're going to be worked in conjunction with each other, these two seasons. It's as if they're treating Season 3 and 4 as one massive season, and instead of 8 episodes, they're bumping it up to 12 episodes for Season 3 at least. That's a big step. That really does tell us that Lucasfilm, or should I say Jon Favreau, is really trying to do everything in his power to bring Star Wars back to the way it used to be. Now, we talked about how he's going to pay more attention to Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 3 and 4, and how what he's trying to do is he's trying to recreate Star Wars Legends by trying to throw in elements of Dark Empire and the Thrawn, right? Legacy. They're trying to do that as well in the Mandalorian series. They're trying to throw a lot of that into the show. And a lot of that is also going to tie directly into the Ahsoka Tano series. Everything related to Thrawn, Ezra, the Worlds Between Worlds, I digress. It just boggles my mind as to why somebody like Kathleen Kennedy would want to fire Jon Favreau. You would think that you would want to welcome somebody that's making more money, or bringing in more money, I should say, to a company like Disney/Lucasfilm. I mean, look at what he did with Season 2's finale. Look at what Jon Favreau was able to complete. He was literally able to recapture the fans, really bring them back into that nostalgic mode, and kind of just shedding tears and getting very emotional, getting choked up over seeing Luke, you know, the ultimate Jedi Master that he should have been in The Last Jedi. And that's exactly what Favreau was able to pull off. Now, on top of that also, Gina Carano is going to unveil a lot more to do with, you know, these new interviews. This upcoming March is going to be a very interesting month because she's going to be dropping a lot of information on her firing, and in April we're going to be learning a lot more about that. So Gina Carano, it really seems like what she's doing is that she's dropping the truth in parts, you know, month by month. And I don't know why she's doing it that way, but that's the way that she's doing it, I guess, to create build-up, or maybe she wasn't ready to reveal just everything at once. Now, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy also is that she's only involved with the Acolyte. That's something that I think a lot of fans need to remember. Creatively speaking, she's only involved on the Acolyte series by Leslie Headland, and that's it. That's all that she's involved in on a creative scale. Now, that show, it has been going through a rough patch. There have been creative differences, surprisingly, between herself and Leslie Headland, which honestly, I mean, is surprising. You wouldn't have thought that to happen, right? To have creative differences between Kennedy and Leslie. I don't think that anybody expected that. So I think that at the end of the day, when we go ahead and look at the roadmap, they do have a lot on their plate, but obviously some of those projects, without a doubt, are getting canceled. Rangers of the New Republic, by the way, is a great example of just that. So, like I've said before, Jon Favreau is sticking with his, word to really making Star Wars as best as possible. And that's what he wants to do. So like I've said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.